Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with initial impressions and some comparisons for the Kindle colorsoft. I am your bestie with every reading device, just about. Not literally, I do not own a Kobo yet or a Books yet, but at some point I will probably get those to try. But I do have and have had a Kindle since the Kindle keyboard. This one with the keyboard on the bottom. That was my first Kindle in college. I am a die-hard e-reader person. It is why and how I read so much every single year, because this fits in your bag. This fits in your bag. I have a Kindle Paperwhite Signature Edition. My regular use daily Kindle has been the Paperwhite Signature Edition since that came out a couple years ago. There's videos of me comparing it with the Oasis, things like that. But I also own an iPad mini that I use predominantly for manga and comics reading, and then also some audiobooking, because sometimes I want to audiobook away from my phone. Wild concept, I know, but sometimes I just don't want to be disturbed. I do also own a Kindle Oasis, which I got from Unclaimed Baggage. Highly recommend if you are looking for an e-reader at a cheaper price. Then I also own a Big Me Color e-reader. The company sent me this to try and test a couple years ago. There's a whole video about it. I have enjoyed it. I've been pretty hesitant to adopt color e-ink screens for a couple of reasons, and I'm going to give you those reasons. First of all, it is a smaller pixel per inch, so like the amount of pixels on the screen is about half with the color technology, which is going to give a slightly grainier appearance, and that is part of why I've been like, I don't know if I care enough. You know, I don't know that it's like a big enough selling point for me to reduce the screen clarity, and nothing's going to have the screen clarity of an Oasis, which has like the best screen option on a Kindle, but you can't really get them anymore. Worst battery life for me on a Kindle, so I've like just made do and like survived with my other one. Yeah, I've been pretty hesitant, and I feel like I'm one of those people who's like almost the perfect use case person to get a color e-reader, because I read manga, I read comics, I don't highlight a ton in my books. So like the color highlighting feature for me is a null and void, but I do read a lot of manga and I do read a lot of comics digitally, and I enjoy that format for them in particular. Like obviously I have shelves. I own a very large physical collection, but there are series that I read through my library digitally on Hoopla digitally, which you can't do that on the Kindle, but you know, I have things that I like to read that way. So in a lot of ways, a color e-ink reader is kind of the perfect thing for me potentially if I like it. So when the sale rolled around to get a colorsoft Kindle for $170, when I traded in an older Kindle I've had sitting around and I needed to get recycled, I kind of thought, well, maybe now is the time we try this. I've had a couple people ask in my prior videos where I've reviewed Kindles and different devices to try the colorsoft and like if I was going to get one or not. So here we are, a little longer into the launch. It seems as though for the most part the yellow bar issue on the bottom of the Kindle colorsoft has been slightly solved. I do not have it on mine, at least in a noticeable capacity for me, so that's a win. I've seen a couple of people on the Reddit that have gotten the one with the yellow bar, so proceed with caution, but it seems to be a slightly improved compared to when it first launched. So yeah, I've had the Kindle for a little over 24 hours at this point, and I wanted to do like a very initial thoughts and feelings. So far I'm liking the device. I do have it just in the Kindle case in raspberry because that was the color I liked. Surprise, surprise, I liked the raspberry color. I've been enjoying it. This is it like all the way up. I've mostly been using it at around a 10 or 13 brightness. The couple cons I've had so far, and the thing that would make me not get rid of my Paperwhite, I've talked about it before. I am generally a dark mode reader. I like a true dark mode on a device. And this is in part due to the fact that I am very easily triggered to migraines, which is awful. But to prevent that, I often will read on dark mode and like reading on a Kindle for that alone, right? Like I don't read books on my iPad unless it's a manga or a comic, because I don't want to have the glare, right? But sometimes when I'm having a migraine attack, I can't actually read with my eyeballs on my Kindle for a bit to kind of like help soothe myself. It's a whole thing. I hate it here, but it is what it is, you know? So because I can do that, I really like the true dark mode. And as I'll show you here, I'm going to overlay some videos while I talk through this. The Kindle colorsoft does not have a true dark mode. When you invert the pages on the colorsoft, it only inverts the pages, and if you tap to view the menu in any capacity, that is a blinding white light of sorts, and that is awful in my opinion. That is a tragedy in and of itself. I'm hoping perhaps they fix it, because that would be really great. I definitely am someone who would love to see that fixed. I would definitely take a lot of advantage of this device if they fixed it. you can see on the Paperwhite or the Oasis, even this is the same, there's literally on the swipe down menu a dark mode option that is going to put your Kindle into the invert, but when you leave the book, everything is in that mode. The other perk of a full regular dark mode, and again, why I don't think I would ever give up my Paperwhite, is that you can read in the dark at night and you're not blinding anyone around you, which like with a regular Kindle, you're not, like, generally speaking, even in not dark mode, I feel like you're probably not blinding people, but I feel like it's a little more subtle, a little darker if you're on an overnight flight or, you know, a flight where a lot of people are sleeping. You can read and there's not like this light kind of glaring off of you or glowing. So I'm a dark mode person, and I know not everyone is, but for me that is definitely a mark in the cons bucket. As far as the colorsoft goes, one of the things I do really like with the colorsoft is for the price, you are getting something that has screensavers. Again, kind of like the old Kindles used to before ads. And I really like that. So you get different screensavers depending, like it cycles through a bunch of them. There's like this one. And I really like that you're getting a screensaver with this one because the color. I would love to see my book covers on this in color, but that's fine because this is a device to me that I'm thinking, well, maybe if I'm traveling and I don't want to bring everything, I could bring the colorsoft and I could still read my manga or comics and my books. And nobody's gonna know what I'm reading as a romance reader and somebody who reads things with covers that can sometimes be a lot. That's not a bad thing. I will say I didn't notice as much grain on the Kindle colorsoft as I did on my Big Me Color e-ink reader, which was a surprise to me. I know there are different technologies for the screens. So I'm going to show you like a comparison here. I've got my Oasis, my Paperwhite, the colorsoft, and then the Big Me e-ink reader in color, so you can kind of compare the screen quality here. And like I said, I feel like they're pretty on par. This is all on the same page of a book I'm currently reading, so there's no spoilers on this page. I glanced through to check before I put it. Yes, I use a large font. I have ADHD and I find that large fonts and turning the page regularly keeps me very engaged as a reader versus a page that I feel like is never going to end. So I use a large font. I know some of y'all are probably like, oh my gosh, how could you use that big of a font? But it works for my brain. Don't knock it till you try it, honestly. So yeah, this is kind of showing you a good comparison, I feel like, of the screen qualities. Again, that Oasis screen is basically unbeatable still. And I don't know that we're ever going to get a screen quite that quality again from Amazon, because the price point would be astronomical. And then the Paperwhite, your usual screen quality. The signature edition just has the wireless charge, basically. And then the colorsoft here, again, it has half the screen pixels per inch of a regular Paperwhite, but I think, like, honestly, it's pretty comparable. I do have all the Kindles at the same brightness, which is about a 13 in this video clip. And then there's the Big Me as well. Again, pretty comparable, but that is also running off of a Kindle app, so I can't get, my settings aren't quite the same in the Kindle app as they are on each Kindle device. So there's that comparison for you. Okay, so one of the appeals, like I said, for me as someone who also reads graphic formats is that I could read my manga on the colorsoft. I've read one volume so far upon getting it because I had to test it, of course, and I liked it. I actually didn't really have big complaints. Obviously, a bigger screen for it isn't bad, but this is, it is, like, I'm gonna show you. Kindle manga, like a normal-ish size volume of manga. I would say this is not that far off in size for a manga print page, so like that's nice. It's not that big a difference. And I found it pretty easy to read my manga and to flip the pages and do all the things. Like, I wasn't having issues with it, so that was really nice. And I think, you know, again, if you want one device to do it all, this could work for you if you don't want a backlit screen, because that's the issue to get the e-ink screens, right? Here is a comparison of my iPad mini, the colorsoft, and the Big Me e-ink reader to show you kind of the quality for viewing manga. You'll notice the colorsoft, in my opinion, for the black and white screens has a richer black on the screen, which is really interesting. You are going to see ghosting or fading kind of in the background when you turn pages on these devices. They are e-ink. E-ink takes longer to refresh than the iPad does. So do know that. I don't think I showed it here at all, but that's normal and it's fine. You can literally manually refresh the page if you need to on devices like the Big Me. So do keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with your device. It is not broken if it does that. This is just, again, a byproduct of the way these screens work. It is going to be slower. You're not getting the crisp quality of a tablet screen with an e-ink device yet. So 24 showers in, where am I with the colorsoft? I'm gonna keep using it. I haven't finished a book yet. I'm almost done with a book in it. I have enjoyed reading on it, but is that the novelty of a new device? Maybe. Battery wise, I got it. I charged it to 100%. I'm at 10% right now, which feels pretty good considering I have downloaded a portion of my library to this device, and that definitely takes up memory. I've downloaded 2 volumes of manga. Again, that takes up memory and space. I will say, from what I've downloaded, I've only used about 2 gigs of the device's storage. So if you're nervous because it's only 25 gigs, I really don't think you're gonna have a problem unless you're trying to store everything on it at one time. So e-book files are pretty small. Manga files and comics are a little larger. But again, if you're not storing everything, I think you'll be okay. I've had this for literally just over 24 hours now. I've read on it a good bit. I read on it while I got my hair done the other day. I read on it last night, and then I did not read on it in bed. I switched to my paperweight because again, that dark mode situation for me is a little bit of a yikes. I don't like this. I really like dark mode. So I don't know if I'm the weirdo for that being like a for me, but I literally can't read my ARC in dark mode. So I'm holding out hope. Fingers crossed for an update. I know we've got the double tap update to change the page, which honestly I don't like. I don't care. I don't use it. I think it's silly. I can tap my thumb pretty easily on the screen. Like, that's not a problem. But yeah, do you have questions? Things you want me to test? Do you want me to test the battery life? Come back and tell you what I think of it. Yeah, I would love to know. I'm really curious to see what I think of this as I use it again for the next month at least. And like I said, on August 7th or 6th, if I decide I don't like it anymore, it's going back because I'm not going to waste my money on a device that isn't what I want. But I'm intrigued, to say the very least, to give this a good old test run because I've not had a new device in like 2 years. But yeah, let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to know. If you don't do any of that, you can leave me is there a raspberry emoji? I hope there's a raspberry emoji. There's no raspberry emoji, so you can leave me a strawberry emoji, even though this is not a strawberry color. You can do that down below. I'll have links to everything I can for you down there and to the other videos where I talk about my e-readers. If you're interested, you can check those out. And I guess if you have another device you want me to check to test, let me know. I know I want to get a Books to try. I really do, but they're expensive. They're like $300. So maybe I'll buckle down the rest of this year and save up to get one. I just can't decide also if I want the Palma, like the handheld one, or if I want the color one. Let me know in the comments, or if I should just get a Kobo. Like, I don't know what to get, so let me know down below. Should I try a Kobo or a Books if I don't like this? And then yeah, your questions about it. Anyways, links to all these different e-readers for you down there. Links to my friend anywhere on the internet that I am. I will catch y'all in just a few days. Bye!
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking, we'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we wait